Hi, I'm Eleanor Burke, and my research project for this year explored how inclusive environmental sustainability is for people with disabilities. In recent years, there's been a dramatic increase in public environmental awareness with the rise of the environmental movement. However, there's been little research exploring how this awareness relates to disability. Historically, there's been a focus on an individualistic approach to sustainability, where sustainable lifestyles and pro-environmental behaviours have been encouraged, such as the Sustainable Lifestyles Framework released by DEFRA in 2012. However, current literature exploring the compatibility of these lifestyles and policies with disability, such as the work by Deborah Fenney, identify exclusion and barriers for people with disabilities. Disability is an integral part of sustainable development, with the 10th Sustainable Development Goal being to reduce inequalities. Thus, it is vital that environmental sustainability be accessible for persons with disabilities, not only to ensure disability equality, but also to sustainably develop. Due to the little literature surrounding this research and the great need for inclusiveness, my focus of this research was to investigate the relationship between disability and environmental sustainability through policy and lived experience. This involved exploring the understandings of sustainability, barriers to pro-environmental behaviours, and policy understandings of people with disabilities. Onto my methods. The research was designed based on the Emancipatory Disability Research Framework by Priestley and Stone to ensure helpful and practical research for persons with disabilities. To collect rich data, a qualitative and explorative online questionnaire was designed for participants who identify as having a disability and a concern for the environment. Questions were in 3 sections which focused on participants' understandings of sustainability, their experiences of interacting with pro-environmental behaviours, and their understandings of responsibility and environmental policy. The results showed a wide understanding of sustainable development, and nearly all participants identified that they interacted with more than one pro-environmental behaviour, based on the list created by DEFRA. Section 2 identified that there were 4 main barriers to sustainable lifestyles. The most frequently mentioned was physical barriers such as access to green transport. This was followed by eco-ableism, where participants expressed they felt judged by people from environmental groups because of their typically higher footprint due to their disability, which then prevented them from joining in with activities. Organisational barriers were third, with participants explaining that care support systems often didn't allow them to act on pro-environmental behaviours, such as having a vegan lifestyle, as it was, quote, too much hassle, or their medical needs created a lot of waste from single-use plastics in medicine. Financial barriers were still a significant barrier, yet the least of the 4. Finally, all participants expressed that they felt everyone was responsible for their environmental impact. However, the government was chosen as the most responsible overall. As several participants explained, you can only do so much. This research applies to the 10th Sustainable Development Goal of reducing inequalities, as it aims to shed light on existing inequalities within society, policy, and general environmental sustainability to encourage change. It also relates to the 11th and 13th goal of sustainable cities and communities and climate action, as if these barriers are reduced and sustainable lifestyles are more accessible, a large proportion of the population will be able to partake in these behaviours, which will not only increase disability equality, but also increase the success of sustainability goals and the environmental movement through making action more accessible. To sum up, this research has identified that there is a complex and intrinsic relationship between disability and the environment, and current barriers to sustainable lifestyles greatly discourage and prohibit people with disabilities from being more environmentally friendly. The research also found that physical barriers such as transport were the main constraint for people with disabilities, and environmental policy contributes to this exclusion. Therefore, it is vital that change happens within environmental policy, the environmental movement and society to increase disability equality and to sustainably develop. Thank you for listening. I hope you enjoyed this presentation, and if you have any questions or feedback, please feel free to email me.